The fact that our consciousness itself seems to be made up out of quantized particles has been the subject of many mystical theories. And while the relation between quantum mechanics and consciousness is unlikely to be as magical as recent esoteric movies and literature claim, there is nevertheless a profound implication. As de Broglie's equations apply to all matter, we can fundamentally establish that C equals HF, where C stands for consciousness, H for the constant of Planck, and F for frequency. C is responsible for what we experience as the now, a quantized or minimum unit of an interaction. The sum of all moments C up till the current moment is what shapes our concept of life. This is not a philosophical or theoretical statement, but an inherent consequence of all matter and energy being quantized. The formula shows how life and death are abstract constructions of C. Another consequence of de Broglie's equations is that the rate at which matter or energy fluctuates and acts like a wave or a particle is relative to the frequency of the frame of reference. Increases in frequency due to velocity are relative to others and bring about phenomena such as time dilation. The underlying reason is the unaffected experience of time relative to the reference frame, where space and time are properties of quanta and not the other way around.
Okay, what the hell does that mean? Matter, antimatter, what is consciousness? It's all relative, and time seems to be playing a part in it. Now, they found at the smallest level of an atom or a photon, anything that you can see, you can only see it if light is shining on it. If it's in the dark, you can't see shit. So the only thing you see in your world is something that has light on it. Light gives you information. And at the smallest level, as it turns out, everything is hollow in a container. What is in the container is spinning pieces of information. Every particle that makes up a rock has information that says, I'm an aspect of this rock, whatever mineral, whatever information that makes it what it is reflects off of the sun, the light, and your understanding, your consciousness is actually the light. It is your reference point. What you judge it to be is what you will turn it into be. So that's why ultimately all of your reality is going to be based on what you believe to be true. And as it turns out, everything we believe to be true isn't as true as we thought it was. So when I wanted to find out this abuse experience, which there's patterns within patterns, there's abuse within my family, there's abuse within our communities, there's global abuse, and, you know, problems seem to be experienced. And our reference point is going to, you're going to judge what's happening based on that. If it's not what you think it is, like if you trusted in something, you trusted a knowing, you trusted the information that you received from all particles. And when you find out it's not exactly as you thought it was, it makes you angry. If you lose something because you thought it was supposed to be one way and you were let down, it will cause a negative emotion. So your negative emotion will create the reality that you see. So right now, as the global collapse happens, we will all get really, really angry. And if we remain in that state, then you will recreate things to be angry with. And it's only because of your perception. And your perception is to view out of the eyes of something that's angry. The only thing that you're angry about is because you didn't know the information. You don't know the answer to something. You don't know how to get your way out of this problem. It's a global problem. You know, we all got to kind of learn a big, massive lesson here. But when I was trying to understand this, it was matter and antimatter, these particles that seem to come in and out of our experience. And even these experiments that they made, that they seem to be measured as a particle or a wave, it's only a particle when it starts to be real to you. It's a wave when it's going to be a feeling to you, when something makes you feel something. And when it's a feeling, you don't see it. You just know something out there is making you feel a certain way, that you need to put a story, a particle attached to it. So now let's look at some of these experiences that seem to be invisible to us. Life, you can see life. Life has light shining on it. Life has an awareness, a knowing about what everything is, and that holds your reality together is all of your beliefs that you form with the information that you have. Death is something that none of us know about, but it doesn't seem to die. There are people in our human experience that can talk to dead people. Spirits tend to have influence over us. They found that people that have a multiple personality disorder, the entity that comes and takes over the body can actually change body shape, eye color, can make a scar on your face, it can change your accent, it can change all aspects of who you are. It seems like an entity comes in and takes over your complete body. Now, doctors, this Dr. Wolf that has been known to heal all mental illnesses, decided to, well, let me treat it as it's a real person. And only once he treated the patient that this entity was a real person itself, that he was dealing with two people, not just one, he managed to heal them. And when he wanted to test this concept out and find out, is this person real, he started asking this person where you live and, you know, what day or time it was and stuff like that, and found out that these entities taking over are real people. They are people from the past that do have birth certificates, that, you know, they are real, but they're traveling in time and we're not aware of it. So I've never heard of anybody coming from our future into our experiences, and that's because our future is limitless. Like, there's nothing real in our future until we create it. So there is no real there. There's only an observation of, okay, if my beliefs run the way they run, and my beliefs form a habit, I can predict what my actions will be based on my habits. We all have habits. You get up every day, you go to work, you come home, you eat at a certain time. Whatever your daily routine is your habits. And as long as you have your belief systems that create the habits that create your lifestyle, you can predict how your next day is going to be. The problem is that every time you go out into the universe and have another experience, every day you're going to change who you are. So every day you can't predict with 100% certainty what your behavior is going to be. You can only predict if everything remains the same, this is what the outcome is going to be. That's why people that are doing they can go in, they meditate, and what's the term called? Astral projecting. going into into a different room and seeing what's going on in the room. It's the same thing as time traveling. It's the same thing as a multiple personality where you're traveling within time, but you are the influence within the time that you travel in. It is an aspect of who you are. Just you've taken over to you are going in there and you're understanding, you're having an enormous amount of empathy that, well, if I was them, what would I do? If I was them and I see what their habits are, what would be the next thing that I would do? It's always going to be a reflection of what it is you think you would do if you were in the same position, the same knowing as everybody, you're astral projecting and trying to see what they're doing. But somebody that is well knowing within themselves can't you can only enter into somebody's body or perspective if you allow it. If you're weak in the mind, then somebody can take over your mind and take over your body. It's a wild, wild, wild world. But that is why you can't get anybody from the future take over your body, because you don't know who you are in the future. Nobody knows who they are in the future because it's constantly changing. But if we could project, a good story, if we could see and visualize what is it we want our world to be, then we create that. Because right now we're creating a whole pile of fear. If fear is going to be the emotion and it's going to be the eyes and the perceptions that we're going to form matter to come together, then we can predict that, yeah, the world's going to fall apart. It's going to come to a complete end. The doom and gloom. We put a lot of movies out there. We put a lot of influences that say everything's going to end. Very few can see a positive future in our experiences, but it's the one that can visualize it, and it's the one that can put a story to it, and the one that can make logic sense. It is using the right brain imagination for, oh, what could be? What is the magical story that we could make up, and then that right brain future vision that you can create. If the story is so good, it can convince the left mind logical thinking to say, yeah, I'd rather choose that. Then we can create a completely different outcome. But death is, um, think of you as a soul that's inside this container, and everything that makes up this container has all of the information that makes you who you are. Same as a rock, same as any type of particle or atom or photon. It is going to be the vibration that and frequency that this information spins at. We're all spinning really fast if we're all really angry, and our health will start to reflect all of that. But if we can slow these spinning down, if we can change the information in every cell in your body, then, and it's basically a transformation, that find out what is making you who you are, find out the logic that is making you who you are, and come up with a different logic, and you have the potential to change every cell in your body just by willing it to. But you have to believe it. Believe it without a doubt. Believe it with as much knowing as what you got now. And then you change your outcome. You change the particles that aren't visible. I personally believe that's what death is that it's still the soul. It's still photons. It's still vibrations of information, but it's not in a container that you can see it yet. But once you can open up your perspective that, yeah, you can still see it. It'll probably just be more light, but light that you can't understand it. But I think our evolution requires us to transform from this body. So death is not the answer. That's why we all don't want to die. Life is the answer.